Cartel music.
Lord, what I need?
No.
You need a remote?
No, just making sure the volume was down.
Oh, God, it's down.
Did you pause the TV?
No, it's delayed.
Oh. I tried to stop the music before they could hear it. Did they hear everything, man? Yeah, you got the chat covered up. Shalom, can y'all hear me? Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Oh, ain't nobody put nothing in the chat. Can y'all hear us? Put a one in the chat if you can hear us. There we go. All right. Shalom, princess. How you doing, sis? Yeah. Man, I did not expect to see you on here this evening, but all praises that you here, Alton, all shalom, you know what I'm saying? Good to hear that you back in town. We about to be going out of town tomorrow, so catch us next time. I'm joking. Yeah, man, my sinuses are tripping, man. It be sounding weird, you know what I'm saying? I got this weird sound, man. I don't like that. Okay. Without further ado, let's salute in. First and foremost, I want to give call halal, Yahweh, Bahashim Mashiach Yahweh Shai. It's all praises to the Most High. In the name of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai Mashiach in the Hebrew. All right, this is another couch captivity created. As you can see me on the couch, this couch is more busted than the one before. All right. Send in the bread, send the money so we can upgrade the couch. Y'all got to understand, we can't do this without y'all. Yeah, we need better camera equipment, better mics, but listen, it's the couch that counts. We want to get rid of this nice couch and get one of them couches that's like near the dumpster or something. You know what I'm saying? To really embrace the couch that captivity has created. We had a feast day the other day. I brought brothers raisins, and for some reason, there's still 2 packs of raisins here. So that's...
I ate 1 pack.
You ate one. I saw you eat one. You ate one too? I think this is sick. I know my girl laughed at that shit when I said, I'm gonna get these raisins. She was like, that'd be so funny. I was like, I'm doing for real. She was like, what, are you serious? I'm like, yes, I'm that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Raisins keep you regular, man. Raisins and plums.
Bro. Come on, man. Prunes too. You don't see me talking about I'm about to drink old prune juice.
Prune.
Now, let me ask y'all a question.
Raisin.
Let me ask y'all a question. Would it be cheating if I took oranges and squeezed them into a juice and drank it? That'd be cheating.
Yeah, just eat the orange.
Just eat the orange, right? But I want a seed. The seed could choke me. I could die.
Hey, you should be all right. You should be all right. Yeah, you know how to eat watermelon.
Yeah, but I get the seedless watermelon.
See. There you go.
Just like iced tea with no sugar. I'm Caucasianized.
Man. I get the sweet tea.
Asianized.
I get the sweet tea from McDonald's and then ask them for more sugar.
That's disgusting. That's a lot too. That's just nasty.
Just add honey.
That's like add honey to what? Water?
So, tea? You don't need
I'm not
sugar.
drinking tea.
Oh.
Remember? I'm saying that's what people do. They drink tea,
Right.
unsweet.
Yeah.
That's weird. And then this thing come out here with a Coca-Cola.
Oh, God.
Feeling good on it. Feel good on it.
It's great.
I bet it do. Hi. You know, we cut the title short for y'all, but I'm gonna give y'all a breakdown as to what it is I'm really trying to push out there is when we come together in righteousness, the Most High will fight for us. All right. Yeah. Okay, everybody on board? All praises. All right. You'll be right quick. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What are you doing?
Just turn my phone on mute. Oh, man.
Yeah. Yes, because it does. Just like flip-flops come with a 9mm too. You know? All right, so the reason, you know, I'm looking at it like this, right? Throughout all of our captivities, we had to make supplication. We had to cry unto the Most High for Him to get us out of it, right? Get us out of that captivity. But it had to be sincere, right? So let's get Jeremiah 3, and we're gonna start at 20. Let's see if I want a different translation. Jeremiah 3. You're gonna start at 20. Okay. In the NLT. Let me see. We can do that. We can do the NLT. Start from 19.
19?
Yeah. All right. So this is the Lord speaking through the prophet Jeremiah. Right? So 19, and we're gonna read all the way through.
25.
Yep.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 19, in the NLT. I thought to myself, I would love to treat you as my own children. I wanted nothing more than to give you this beautiful land.
That's all he wanted. That's why he said, go into the land of Canaan and kill everybody. Man, woman, child, and beast. I wanted to give you this land. I wanted you to be my children. Go ahead.
The finest possession in the world.
I
look forward to your calling me Father.
He looked forward to us calling him Father. Read.
And I wanted you never to turn from me.
And he never wanted us to turn from him. Go ahead.
Verse 20. But you have been unfaithful to me. You people of Israel.
But you Israelites have been unfaithful to the Most High. You children of Israel. Go ahead.
You have been like a faithfulness wife.
Ooh, a who?
Faithfulness wife.
You've been like a what?
Faithfulness wife.
You've been like a faithless wife. I ain't gonna lie. It sounds like my ex. You've been like a faithless wife. Finish it.
Who leaves her husband. I, the Lord, have spoken.
That's what the Most High said, man. Israel is like a faithless wife that leaves her husband. Scratch that. That's like a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
Israel is like a faithless wife that leaves their husband. Go ahead.
Verse 21. Voices are heard high on the wind-swept mountains.
Keep going. Read it again.
Voices are heard high on the wind-swept mountains.
Go ahead.
The weeping and pleading of Israel's people.
Voices are heard on them high mountains. The weeping and pleading of Israel. Right? Go ahead.
For they have chosen crooked paths and have forgotten the Lord their God.
They forgot the Lord their God. Read.
Verse 22. My wayward children, said the Lord, come back to me.
So he's telling us to come back. Return unto the Most High. Repent. Go ahead.
And I will heal your wayward hearts.
And he will heal our wayward hearts. You know what a wayward heart is? Something that's going this way and that way. It's going every other direction. Wayward. You know what I'm saying? Instead of set on one thing. Right? That's like saying you're scatterbrained. You're all over the place. Wayward. Right? Go ahead.
Yes, we're coming. The people replied.
Yes, we're coming. We said that. And guess what? Even to this day, we are still saying that. Go ahead.
For you are the Lord our God.
For the Lord is our power. Read.
Verse 23. Our worship of idols on the hill and our religious orgies on the mountains.
Now, why is it saying this?
The groves.
Nah, it's just saying like we're seeking salvation and help from these other deities, from these fake gods, from these fake powers. Right? When we read Bel and the Dragon, when we read the letter to Jeremiah, the last or the sixth book of Baruch, whichever one you choose to call it, you know what I'm saying? It's talking about all these idols, right? As a matter of fact, let's get to that right quick. Letter to Jeremiah. It's the last page of Baruch. Don't worry, folks. Y'all sit tight. We ain't going nowhere. Yeah. You there?
Baruch 5.
Nah, next chapter. See? Con. Now, good Lord, dude. You need bigger letters, bro. Put what Gazah said on the screen.
This one?
Yeah, the one that's true. All right. We're just going to leave that there all day. All right, take it off. All right. You there? Let me see. I'm going to read it.
All praise.
Yeah. You ready? All right. This is the Epistle of Jeremiah. A copy of an epistle which Jeremiah sent unto them which were to be led captives into Babylon. Let's fast forward thousands of years later. We're in the land of Babylon, right? The new Babylon, right? So a lot of this we can correlate with today, right? By the king of the Babylonians to certify them as it was commanded him of God, because of your sins which ye have committed before God, ye shall be led away captive unto Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Babylonians. So when ye be come unto Babylon, ye shall remain there many years, and for a long season, namely 7 generations. That was the old Babylon, right? 7 generations. And after that, I will bring you away peaceably from thence. Verse 4. Now shall ye see in Babylon gods of silver and of gold and of wood, borne upon shoulders, which cause the nations to fear. So you would be walking into these lands and you would see these statues and you would be like, man, that should look scary. Is that their God? And the Most High is telling you, don't worry about that statue, that piece of metal, that piece of wood that has no power. Verse 5. Beware therefore that ye in no wise be like to strangers. Don't be like the heathen. Jeremiah 10, remember? For the heathen are dismayed. You know what I'm saying? When you see the multitude before them, which is in front of them, and behind them, which is in back of them. So now, just like Yahushua would be in the middle, everybody would be crowded around, like it says in 2nd Ezra 2 and 35, 2 and 50, 2 and 45. But like it says in 2nd Ezra, right? But like it also says in other books where he's going to be putting a crown on your head, right? But he's in the midst of them. When you're in the midst of them, that means you're in the middle of them and they're surrounding you. So that's what they would have in these lands, like in Babylon, right? Let's say, beware therefore that ye in no wise be like to strangers, neither be ye afraid of them. When you see the multitude before them and behind them, worshiping them. But say ye in your hearts, which is your la'ab, your mind, O Lord, we must worship thee. For my angel is with you, and I myself caring for your souls. As for their tongue, it is polished by the workmen. and they themselves are girded and laid over with silver. Yet are they but false and cannot speak. None of those statues speak, right? None of those statues have a voice. Remember Bel and the dragon? They will put the food in there, and then they say that somebody would eat it. But nah, it was his workers going in there and taking the food. 9. And taking gold, as it were for a virgin that loves to go gay, which is to be happy. They make crowns for the heads of their gods. Sometimes also the priests convey from their gods gold and silver and bestow it upon themselves. So they'll take it off of them and put it on themselves. Yeah, they will give thereof to the common harlots and deck them as men with garments, being gods of silver and gods of gold and wood. Yet cannot these gods save them. Slug it. Yet cannot these gods save themselves from rust and moths. So these statues can't even save themselves from dust and moths. Once again, this whole topic is about if we come together in righteousness, the Most High will fight for us. But if we're following after these other teachings, after these other philosophies, he's not fighting for us. You understand? And it's easy to come into the land of Babylon and be stuck looking at all of the big buildings, all of the stuff that you be like, man, it's so beautiful and glittery and it's bright and he's got the lights and all that stuff that hypnotize you in a sense, right? To where you're like, who would want this to end? But you're saying that while making minimum wage at Jersey Mike's. You understand? So just be mindful of I'm a shooter, baby. I'm a shooter.
That's doing jazz.
Good luck, new reader. All right. Now watch. They wipe their faces because of the dust of the temple when there is much upon them. And he that cannot put to death one that offended him holdeth the scepter as though he were a judge of the country. So you'll see the statue, and the statue got a scepter, and it got a dagger on its side, and you could be like, man, you a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? And what can that thing do to you? Nothing. But it's holding the scepter like it's the judge of the country. It's like a spatula. You know what I'm saying? On the grill. All right. But this whole chapter goes into idolatry. Let's jump down to 20. Menstruous women and women in childbed, eating their sacrifice. By these things ye may know that they are no gods. Fear them not. For how can they be called gods? Because women set meat before the gods of silver, gold, and wood. So how can a woman be a god if she's saying these other things are gods? And the priests sit in their temples, having their clothes rent, and their heads and beards shaven, and nothing upon their heads. Right?
What verse you?
Huh?
What verse?
That was 31.
Okay.
But yeah, 29 and 31, that's that right there. You know what I'm saying? But the whole book of the letter to Jeremiah is about idolatry. Watch. Verse 48. For when there cometh any war or plague upon them, the priests consult with themselves, where they may be hidden with them. How then cannot men perceive that they be no gods, which can neither save themselves from war nor from plague. So the priests would hide with the statues to protect the statue. Right? God. Foreseeing they be but of wood and overlaid with silver and gold, it shall be known hereafter that they are false. Right? But like I said, that whole chapter, beautiful chapter. You know what I'm saying? So let's get back to Jeremiah 3.
This is the book of Jeremiah, back to verse 23. Our worship of idols on the hills, and our religious orgies on the mountains
Are a delusion.
Are a delusion.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Only in the Lord our God will Israel ever find salvation.
Thank you. We can't get salvation. We can't get saved. We can't get help from the other nations. They're not here to help us out of this. Only through the Most High will we be taken out of this. Only will the Most High fight for us. But we have to return unto him in righteousness. Not just in words, but in deeds, in our actions. Right? Go ahead, finish it up.
Verse 24. From childhood we have watched, as everything our ancestors worked for. Their flocks and herds, their sons and daughters, was squandered on a delusion.
Squandered. Yeah, was spent on nothing. Spent on something fake. Squandered. You know what it is when you got your Warbucks and you squandering your money away on nothing. Orange juice. Squandering. Go ahead.
Verse 25. Let us now lie down in shame.
Let us now lie down in shame. Go ahead.
And cover ourselves with dishonor.
Go ahead.
For we and our ancestors.
Listen, like I said, man, squandered on a delusion. All of the voting you've done, you've sold yourself into this delusion that voting for Barack would save your people. That voting for Clinton would save your people. That voting for Trump would save your people. That's the delusion that we bought into, that we've squandered our savings on. Remember, our riches are laid up in heaven, but we're squandering all that stuff right here. Go ahead.
Come. Verse 25, back to the top. Let us now lie down in shame and cover ourselves with dishonor.
Go ahead.
For we and our ancestors have sinned against the Lord our God.
Read.
From our childhood.
From our childhood to what?
To this day.
To this day, what?
We have never obeyed him.
We have never obeyed him. To this day, we still are in disobedience. I watched a Sons of Thunder video. Shout out to Priest Y'all. A Sons of Thunder video, and they were talking to a sister. And she just walked up and said, y'all ain't got the Holy Spirit. Y'all teaching doctrines of demons. And I like how he teaches. I'm going to take points from that too, because I'm going to incorporate that in how I teach. Because it's always about, listen, man, they're not going to get it. They might not all get it, but guess what? Let's just have the dialogue. I'm not going to call you out tonight. I'm not going to treat you like nothing else. You still my sister. Even if you don't understand what we believe in, if you don't agree, even if you disagree with what we believe in, you still my people. I vibe with that. You understand? With that being said, this woman was just saying stuff that didn't make no sense. Like she knew scriptures, but she didn't understand what she knew. What she thinks she knows, right? You know, like I said, if you think you know anything, you know not what you need to know. You know what I'm saying? And if any man bethink himself, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, but to this day, we still haven't obeyed him. Let's get Judges 2. We're going to read 14 to 23.
God. It's the book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 14. And the angel of the Lord. Oh, Slakia. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. And he delivered them into the hands of the spoilers.
Right?
That spoiled them.
That spoiled them. The anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. You so-called Black, Hispanics, Native Americans scattered to the four corners of the earth. The anger of the Lord was hot upon you, and he delivered them into the hands of the spoilers to spoil them. When you go into that word to spoil, it means to destroy. Right? Go ahead.
And he sold them into the hands of their enemies round about.
And he sold them into the hands of their enemies round about. Go ahead.
So that they could not any longer stand before their enemies.
Go ahead.
Verse 15. Whithersoever they went out, the hand of the Lord was against them.
No matter what they did, the hand of the Lord was against them. This sounds like curses. It sounds like a curse. Curse how you be in the field. Curse how you be in the city. Curse how you be in the morning. Curse how you be in the evening. Curse how you be coming in. Curse how you be going out. No matter what they put their hand to, they were cursed. Black Wall Street, cursed. Rosewood, cursed. Right? I don't care if niggas was doing shit for 10 years, 20 years. The Most High come through and send them white boys and burn that bitch down, and you ain't got nothing to say about it. And you think, why can't we have another Tulsa? It's because y'all won't come and return to the Most High. Y'all focus on the wrong thing. Why? It doesn't matter if you buy land. What's it going to do for you if your people don't come together? You're going to be a nigga with land, and the government going to do something and take it away, and ain't nobody going to be able to help you. Because there's no might in your hand during those curses. All you can do is pray to the Most High and pray that he finds favor in you. That's why it's like we going through these curses. We know what's happening, but when are we really going to actually understand what we have to go through, Rakatah, what we have to go through, and what's required of us to even see the silver lining to this great freaking cloud? This ain't no late night class, so I ain't gonna turn up like I want to turn up, like the nigga in me turns up. Listen, if y'all want to put precepts in the chat, listen, don't bother. You want to teach, get on the line. You want to teach, have a class. Y'all stop putting precepts in the chat. I don't need your help. You know what I'm saying? I love you, Nasayat. Where we at?
Verse 15.
Go ahead.
God, this is the book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 15. Whithersoever they have went out, the hand of the Lord was against them for evil. As the Lord have said.
Go ahead.
And as the Lord have sworn unto them, and they were greatly distressed.
Distressed, man. They were going through it. Read.
Verse 16. Nevertheless,
right? This is the silver lining. Nevertheless, go ahead.
The Lord raised up judges.
Right? That's who Samson was. That's who Ehud was. Right? Go ahead.
Which delivered them out of the hand of those that spoiled them.
Which delivered them out of the hands of those that spoiled them. That's why Christ is a judge. That's why the scripture said they wanted to change the likeness of the judges, right? Go ahead. I'm probably mixing up two scriptures, man. I don't know.
Verse 17. And yet they will not hearken unto their judges.
And yet we will not hearken unto our judges, because guess what? We will get delivered out of the hands of our enemies. The judges would die, and then we would go back to being niggas. Could you imagine a nigga saying West Side Hoover in the kingdom? Could you imagine a nigga saying tortilla flats in the kingdom? Could you imagine a nigga saying all mamas in the kingdom? But we laughed about it before, you know what I'm saying? I know Lahad ain't around because he don't be on these classes, but, you know, we was laughing about it the other day about how we could just imagine niggas throwing up 60s in the kingdom. I made a post the other day. It said, if y'all see me with them fringes and that ribbon of blue, just know this is CRIP. It's Christ's revolution in progress. Then I might have seen one person say something on a slick on somebody else's thing because they shared it. So then I did another post and I shared, you know, the definition of revolution. It's the changing of governments. That's a revolution. Nobody said nothing to Kirk Franklin when he said, do you want a revolution? Whoop, whoop. Do you want a revolution? Whoop, whoop. Stop. Sick and tired of my brothers killing each other. Do you want a revolution? Whoop, whoop. Do you want a revolution? Whoop, whoop. Hey, forget Riverside Club. The point is, the point is this, right? The point is this. We have to take it that serious, right? Get back to it.
This is the book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 17. And yet they will not hearken unto their judges, but they went a-whoring after other gods and bowed themselves unto them.
But we went a-whoring after other gods. Hence, fast forward, letter to Jeremiah. We went a-whoring unto the wood and the stone and the gold and the silver. Go ahead. That's why you brothers who wearing all that gold and stuff, y'all done sold y'all's souls. Go ahead.
They turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in.
They turned quickly out of the way which their fathers walked in. Read.
Obey the commandments of the Lord.
Obeying the commandments of the Lord. Go ahead.
But they did not so.
But they didn't do that. They chose not to. Remember Deuteronomy 27 and 26. You know what I'm saying? We said, so be it. Just remember, we were all standing there and we said, we accept the challenge. We accept your parameters, right? We do what's right, we get blessed. We do what's wrong, this long list of curses. We said, so be it. And yet, in 2023, we're still complaining about the state that we're in when we're not trying to change. And it's not, I'm not talking about just the people in the world. I'm talking about even the people in this truth, in this walk. Go ahead.
Verse 18. And when the Lord raised them up judges, then the Lord was with the judge and delivered them out of the hands of their enemies.
But when what? But when the Lord was what?
But when the Lord had, back to 18. And when the Lord raised them up judges.
And when the Lord raised up the judges.
Then the Lord was with the judge.
The Lord was with the judge, right? Through spirit, right? That he gave him the power to overthrow the nation that it was in bondage to. Go ahead.
And delivered them out of the hands of their enemies.
Go ahead.
all the days of the judge.
All the days of the judge till the judge died. Right? Go ahead.
For it repent the Lord because of the groanings by reasoning of them that the oppressor, God, Salakia, because of their groaning by the reason of them that oppress them and vex them.
So the Most High heard our groanings and our cries by way of the oppressors oppressing us and vexing our spirits. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 19. And it came to pass when the judge was dead, that they returned.
And when the judge died, because remember, we would be straight all the way until the judge died. Then the judge died, and then it reminds you of another precept where it talks about, and in that day there was no king over Israel, so everybody did what was right in their own eyes. How the hell can you do what's right in your own eyes when you got the blueprint that tells you what you're supposed to do? Please forgive me. I know my sinuses and this overdraft is just kicking my butt, man. But go ahead.
That they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers in the following of other gods to serve them. And they bow down unto them.
And to bow down unto these idols. Go ahead.
They cease not from their own doing, nor from their stubborn ways.
Nor from our stubborn ways. We would not change. How, let's say, Nakash, Gamal is a judge. And you've been on this walk. He saved us in the year 2015. And he dies in 2023. 8 years. And then after those 8 years, because he's dead, you go back to being a nigga, and then we go right back into slavery again. Or go through the curses some more. Could you imagine? It didn't say the judge lived for 70 years, 80 years. But that's why when we were in our land, you were told to purge out the evil. So if there was a homosexual, guess what? You would have to kill that homosexual. Why? So that it doesn't spread. The ideology doesn't spread. The wickedness that they're doing doesn't spread. I watched a panel of Christians talk about how God doesn't hate the sinner, he hates the sin. Then you hear Christians talk about how the two laws is you love your neighbor as yourself. Well, why can't a gay person love their neighbor then? If that's the only laws you're going to give them. How is homosexuality hurting the homosexual? See, but they're not dealing with logic. They're dealing with foolishness. They're dealing with pacification. Is that even a word? It sounds good.
It is today.
Pacifying. And I'm not pacifying. I'm prophesying to the passerby.
Bars.
You know what I'm saying? Put a gold tooth on and you turn to a bar. Listen. Yeah, in due time. And we turn. Yeah, listen, man, you already know. Go ahead, man. Don't worry, man. Nobody talking about nobody.
God, this is the book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 20. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. And he said, because that this people have transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, I have not hearkened, and have not hearkened unto my voice. Verse 21. I also will not henceforth drive them out.
Slow down.
God, 21.
Word for word.
I also will not henceforth drive out any from before them the nations which Joshua left.
The nations.
Of the nations which Joshua left when he died.
Joshua died, and so he said, "You know what? I'm not going to draw them other nations, man. I'm going to let them stay where they at, so they can be a thorn in your side." Go ahead.
Verse 22.
Now watch. This is watch. This is the test. Go ahead.
That through them I may prove Israel.
Watch. Y'all know what that word "prove" means? Try
a friend.
Right? Prove a friend, right? So he's going to leave these nations here to see what you gonna do. And every step of the way, we out there still eating this bacon. We want the escargot. Right? Clams. Right? We want all this stuff that the other nations have. But I don't blame us entirely. We had a veil over our eyes. We've been led astray. We've been led the wrong direction. But it's up to the men of the Lord to put ourselves on the front line and to push this word. That's your job. Take it serious. These other nations are here to prove you, to try you. Finish it out.
That through them I might prove Israel, whether they will keep the way of the Lord to walk therein.
Read that again.
That through them I may prove Israel.
I'm going to try Israel. Go ahead.
Whether they will keep the way of the Lord.
Remember, it said to walk this way. Walk in the way what? The way of the Lord. To see if they will walk, see if they will keep the way of the Lord, and what?
To walk therein.
To walk in the way of the Lord. Go ahead.
As their fathers did not keep, or not. I read it again. That through them I may prove Israel, whether they will keep the way of the Lord to walk therein. As their fathers did not keep it.
No.
As their fathers did keep it or not.
Thank you. He's going to try you to see if you're going to walk in the way of the Lord. As their fathers did keep it or not. Because some kept it, some didn't. Go ahead, finish it up.
Verse 23. Therefore, the Lord left those nations without driving them out hastily. Neither delivered he them into the hands of Joshua.
So he didn't deliver the other nations into the hand of Joshua. So guess what? Y'all just got to deal with it. Just got to deal with it. Let's get Judith 4. I tell you, there's going to be a lot of reading. Judith 4. In the Apocrypha. Listen, this is such a great read.
Judith, she wasn't playing.
Listen.
She put niggas whole head in the bag.
Ready?
Go ahead.
This is the book of Judith, chapter 4, verse 1. Now the children of Israel that dwell in Judea.
The Mexicans got on boats. You watch that?
Hell yeah.
Hey, he said the Mexicans got on boats, bro.
CC life.
Listen, you want to do? Yeah, you do it. The Mexicans got on boots. He's a good comedian. I ain't gonna lie. I like him. He's got all the jailhouse stuff. Go ahead.
Now that the children of Israel that dwell in Judea heard all that
Holofernes, the
the chief captain of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Assyria,
Assyrians, king of the Assyrians,
which had done to the nations,
uh-huh,
and after what manner he has spoiled all their temples
uh-huh,
and brought them to naught.
uh-huh. Go ahead.
Verse 2. Therefore, they were exceeding afraid.
Now watch. The children of Israel that dwelt in Judea heard all that Holofernes, the chief captain of Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, had done to the nations. We're in our little shanty town, and we hear about what this man has done to the other nations. And how he destroyed their temples and brought them to naught. Meaning what? There's no more. They were no more. Right? Go ahead.
And after what manner he has spoiled all their temples and brought them to naught. 2. Therefore they were exceedingly afraid of him.
Uh-huh.
And they were troubled for Jerusalem.
Uh-huh.
And for the temple of the Lord their God.
We were worried. We heard the stories. And he destroyed their temples too. We're worried that he's going to destroy our land and our temple and the people. Go ahead.
Verse 3. For they were newly returned from captivity.
We just came back from captivity. Go ahead.
And all the people of Judea were lately gathered together.
Uh-huh.
And the vessels and the altar and the house were sanctified after the profanation.
Yeah. After the profanation, right? After everything was profane, everything was now sanctified, right? Set apart, made holy again. Go ahead.
Therefore they sent unto all the coast of Samaria and the villages, and to Betharon and Belman and Jericho, and to Achoba, and to Asora, and to the valley of Salem,
which is Shalom in the Hebrew, the land of Salem. That's where Melchizedek comes from. Salem. Y'all know that, right? Okay.
Malak Tazaduk.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Verse 5. And possessed themselves beforehand of all the tops of the highest mountains.
Of the high mountains. Go ahead.
And
fortified the village. Fortified the villages.
The villages that were in them.
Now watch. So what we did, because we were worried about all this, we possessed the highest part of the mountain and fortified the villages, right? So that nobody could come in. That's the goal. Because we know about this dude that's running amok, destroying people's stuff, taking over. Go ahead.
And laid up victuals for a provision
for the provisions
of war.
Uh-huh.
For their fields were of the late reap.
Or of late reaped. Right?
Verse 6. Also Jehoram.
Now remember, it said it laid up victuals for the provision of war. What does that mean?
They got war ready.
What does it mean?
They laid up victuals.
What you got?
Laid up victuals, swords, all kind of armor, weapons. That's what I would do.
See, y'all ain't listening. Y'all ain't reading it in the context of what it's saying, right? And laid up victuals for the provision of war. They're preparing for war. For their fields were of late reaped.
Oh, so they gathered all the stuff.
What stuff?
The food.
Thank you.
Food.
Yeah.
Gotta eat.
Yeah.
That part.
And they just reap the fields.
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 6.
That's swords. Go ahead.
Also, what is that? Joachim,
Joking.
the high priest,
Uh-huh.
which was in those days of Jerusalem,
Uh-huh.
wrote to them that dwelt in
Bethulia.
Bethulia and Beryl,
Beto.
Mestum.
Yeah.
which is over east. Oh, I'm Slacket, which is over against
Esdraelon.
Esdraelon, yeah.
Esdraelon. Yeah.
Esdraelon, towards the open country near to
Dothan.
Dotham.
Yeah, listen. The Most High knew what he was doing. You read these words, you don't even want to read the Bible no more. Listen, that's how it was for me. You know, don't get to Numbers 1 and then just be like, forget this book, bro. This ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't know no Jehoiakim. You know what I'm saying? I don't know no ISRAELITE, no nothing.
Bethulia.
You know what I'm saying? Dothan. You know what I'm saying? Listen, at least the names in the Bible. Go ahead.
Verse 7, charging them to keep the passages of the hill country.
Charging them to keep the passages of the hill country. Go ahead.
For by them there was an entrance unto Judea.
So they had a passageway that entered into Judea. Right? Go ahead.
And it was easy to stop them that would come up. Because the passage was straight.
Passage was straight. It was just one road going into that. So it's easy. Y'all remember the movie 300? Remember when they wanted to go, they say if they walked through that narrow passage and they held at that narrow passage. So everybody that came, what are they gonna do? You're gonna fight one person, 2, 3, 4 people at a time. And they'll never get through there.
So they call it a death funnel.
Yeah. But if we was all on the same battlefield, a lot more people would die because the Persians had nothing but an army. You know what I'm saying? Against 300 Spartans, boy lovers.
And that word straight is straight as in narrow.
Yeah.
The passage was very narrow.
Watch it. For 2 men at the most. Only 2 people can fit there next to each other at a time.
I heard somewhere that when they talk about a camel passing through the eye of the needle, it's the same kind of thing. It's a narrow, it's a passage called the eye of the needle. That's barely enough for a man to fit through.
Yeah. For a needle eye. Yeah. Yeah, that's Buju.
Sparta.
Go ahead.
Verse 8.
Man, I don't know how you supposed to, man. You need to blast it, bro. Man, look at the TV, bro. That's scary.
And the children of Israel did as Jehoiakim, the high priest, had commanded them, which the ancient of Israel, of all the people of Israel, which dwell at Jerusalem.
Now, what does that mean? I know y'all can look up at the screen, man. I know y'all can see them big words. The ancients of all the people of Israel are the elders. Good Lord. The ancients, meaning older. All right? And the children of Israel did as Jehoiakim the high priest had commanded them with the ancients of all the people of Israel, which dwelt in Jerusalem. Keep reading.
Verse 9. Then every man of Israel cried to God with great fervency. And with great vehemency did they humble their souls.
Go ahead. And they humbled their souls when they cried unto the Most High. Read.
Both they and their wives and their children and their cattle and every stranger and hireling and their servants brought with money put sackcloth on their loins.
Upon their loins. Go ahead.
Thus every man and woman and the little children and the inhabitants of Jerusalem fell before the temple and cast ashes upon their head and spread out their sackcloths before the face of the Lord. Also, they put sackcloth about the altar. Verse 12, and cried to the Lord of Israel, all with one consent, earnestly.
One consent earnestly, right? Go ahead.
That he will not give their children for a prey.
That he would not give the children of Israel for a prey. Go ahead.
And their wives for a spoil. And the cities of their inheritance to destruction. And the sanctuary to profanation and reproach.
To be profane, right? To not have their sanctuary profaned, right? Go ahead.
And for the nation to rejoice at.
Keep reading.
Verse 13. So God heard their prayers and looked upon their afflictions. And the people fasted many days in Judea and Jerusalem.
In all Judea and Jerusalem.
In all Judea and Jerusalem before the sanctuary of the Lord Almighty. And Joachim, the high priest, and all the priests that stood before the Lord, and they which minister unto the Lord, had their loins girded with sackcloth, and offered the daily burnt offerings with the vow and free gift of the people. Verse 15, and had ashes upon their mitres, that's what you wear, and cried upon the Lord with all their power, that he would look upon all the house of Israel
graciously, right? Next chapter. I don't even know what y'all walking into.
This is the book of Judah, chapter 5, verse 1. Then was it declared to
Holofernes.
The chief captain of the army of Ashur, that the children of Israel had prepared for war.
So, this nigga was told the children of Israel are preparing for war, right? The same dude that been ransacking all these other lands and destroying their temples and everything like that. Someone told him, oh, them niggas up that. Them niggas on top of the hill. They preparing for war. Go ahead.
That the children of Israel had prepared for war and had shut up the passages of the hill country.
So you can only have two people at a time going up that way,
and had fortified all the tops of the high hills, and had laid impediments in the campaign country.
Champagne
country. Verse 2, wherewith he was very angry.
And now this man is angry at what he just heard. Go ahead.
And called all the princes of Moab, and the captains of Ammon, and all the governors of the sea coast.
Read.
Verse 3, and he said unto them, tell me now, ye sons of Canaan, who this people is.
Now he wants to know, he's inquiring, who is these people that have fortified themselves in the hill country at the top of the hill, and nobody can really get up there? Who are these people that would think like this? Go ahead.
That dwelleth in the that dwelleth in the hill country, and what are the cities that they inhabit? And what is the multitude of their army?
I don't know how many men they got ready for war. Is their army large? Go ahead.
And wherein is the power and strength?
Where do they get their power and strength from? Read.
And what king is set over them? Or captain of their army? Verse 4. And why have they determined not to come and meet me?
Yeah.
More than all the inhabitants of the west. Verse 5. Then said
Achior,
the captain of all the sons of Ammon, let my Lord now hear a word from the mouth of thy servant, and all will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people, which dwell near thee, and inhabit the hill countries. And there shall no lie come out of the mouth of thy servant. Verse 6. This people are descendants of the Chaldeans. Verse 7. And they sojourn heretofore in Mesopotamia, because they will not follow the gods of their father, which were in the land of the Chaldeans. Verse 8. For they left the way of their ancestors.
They left the way of their ancestors.
And worshiped the God of heaven, the God whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their God, and fled into Mesopotamia and sojourned there many days.
Are y'all keeping up with the time frame that this is? Are y'all keeping up with what they're talking about?
this is post like Assyrian captivity.
That was
Way before that.
Before, yeah, I figure so. Because
this is before we went into the land of Canaan.
this is like talking about Abraham's time.
Yeah,
Chaldee.
They're going all the way back.
Because his father was from
Yeah.
Chaldees.
I just want y'all to understand where this is going. Like, they're giving you the breakdown of where y'all came from.
Descendant of the Chaldeans.
These people are descendant of the Chaldeans, right? For they left the way of their ancestors and worshiped the God of heaven, the God of whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their gods, and they fled into Mesopotamia and sojourned there many days. Then their God commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned and to go into the land of Canaan, where they dwelt, and were increased with gold and silver and with very much cattle.
It's a story a lot. And
Yes, and now we're about to go into Joseph going into the land of Egypt. But when a famine covered the land of Canaan, they went into Egypt and sojourned there, while they were nourished and became there a great multitude, so that no one could number their nation. No one could not number their nation, so that one could not number their nations. Lakia. Therefore, the king of Egypt rose up against them and dealt subtly with them and brought them low with laboring and brick and made them slaves. So now y'all know where y'all at now. Now we're in Egypt. Right? Now we're in Egypt.
this is Ammon, the captain speaking. Captain of sons of Ammon.
Read verse 1. Verse 12. And they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues, so the Egyptians cast them out of their sight. And God dried the Red Sea before them, and brought them to Mount Sinai, and Cade's barn, and cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness. Cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness. So they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed by their strength all them of Esabon and passed over Jordan, they possessed all the hill country. So that's where we're at now. And they cast forth before them the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Jebusite, the Shechemite, and the Girgashites, and they dwelt in the country many days, And whilst they sinned not before their God, they proposed because the God that had iniquity was with them.
They prospered.
Salakia. And whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered. That's the key. While they sinned not before their God, they prospered. When we don't sin against our God, we prosper. Because the God that hated iniquity was with them. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. But now are they returned. Salakia. I'm just looking at the fact we got that, but that must be just delayed. But now are they returned to their God, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin. If they sin against their God, this shall be their ruin. And let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their God be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. And when Achior had finished these sayings, all the people standing around about the tent murmured. And the chief men of Holofernes and all that dwelt in the seaside and in Moab spake that he should kill him. For, listen, they're saying, kill the messenger. That nigga just said, if we go over there and they on the right side with they Lord, we gonna lose. Daddy said, man, my nigga, we gotta kill this man for talking like that. Say they, we will not be afraid of the face of the children of Israel. For lo, it is a people that have no strength, nor power for a strong battle. They're not ready for war. That's what they said about us. We're not ready for war. Now, therefore, Lord Holofernes, we will go up, and they shall be a prey to be devoured of all thine army. That's the temperature, man. Now, I wasn't trying to read all of Judith, but eventually, you know the story?
No.
You know the story. You know the story, right? You know the story? Yeah.
You just read it.
You know, it gets better.
Let's keep going.
All the niggas.
I got too much precepts to go through.
All the niggas was afraid. So
that's what I'm saying, right? So what happened is everybody it wasn't so much that they were afraid. It was they gave God an ultimatum. If he don't do it by this time, we're going to have to go do this. She said, who do y'all think y'all are? So eventually, I'm just going to run this story by y'all real quick. So eventually, she puts on her makeup, she's a widow. She goes and let me see. I want to read it. I want to read it.
Chapter 6.
Nah, we already in chapter 7. Start at chapter 8. We're gonna start at verse 4. And it starts with what I just said too. Nah, we go. Yeah, I just started 4. So Judith was a widow, right? When you read all of the beginning of 4, it talks about her family, I believe, right? So Judith was a widow in her house 3 years and 4 months. So her husband had passed 3 years and 4 months ago, right? And she fasted all the days of her widowhood, save the eves of the Sabbaths and the Sabbaths and the eves of the new moon and the new moons and the feasts and the solemn days of the house of Israel. Right? Those are the times when she would eat. She was also of a godly countenance and very beautiful to behold. And her husband Manasseh had left her gold and silver and men servants and maid servants and cattle and lands, and she remained upon them. And there was none that gave her an ill word, as she feared God greatly. See, sisters, y'all got power. Fear the Most High. Fear the Most High. Don't think you just got to rely on your husband fearing the Most High. Your black ass got to fear the Most High too. You have to. Right? Now, when she heard the evil words of the people against the governor, that they fainted for lack of water, for Judith had heard all the words that Ozias had spoken unto them, and that he had sworn to deliver the city into the Assyrians after 5 days. Then she sent her waiting woman that had the government of all things that she had, to call Ozias and Cabris and Carvis, the ancients of the city. And they came unto her, and she said unto them, Hear me now, O ye governors of the inhabitants of Bethulia, for your words that ye have spoken before the people this day are not right, touching this oath which ye made and pronounced between God and you. You have promised to deliver the city to our enemies, unless within these days the Lord turn to help you. And now, who are ye that have tempted God this day, and stand instead of God among the children of men? And now try the Lord Almighty. But ye shall never know anything. For ye cannot find the depth of the heart of men, neither can ye perceive the things that ye thinketh. Then how can ye search out God, that hath made all these things, and know his mind, or comprehend his purpose? Nay, my brethren, provoke not the Lord our God to anger. For if he will not help us within these 5 days, he hath power to defend us when he will. Even every day, or to destroy us before our enemies. He has the power to do whatever he wants. You don't give God no ultimatum. Do not bind the counsels of the Lord our God, for God is not as man, that he may be threatened. Neither is he as the Son of Man, that he should be wavering. Therefore let us wait for salvation of him, and call upon him to help us, and he will hear our voice if it please him. This is history. For there arose none in our age, neither is there any now in these days, neither tribe, nor family, nor people, nor city among us, which worships gods made with hands, as hath been aforetime. We ain't doing none of those wicked things in this land. So why not just have faith that the Most High is going to help us when he wants to? He already knows what's coming against us. He knows everything. For the which cause our fathers were given to the sword, and for a spoil, and had a great fall before our enemies. But we know none other God. Therefore we trust that he will not despise us, nor any of our nation. For if we be taken so, all Judea shall lie waste, and our sanctuary shall be spoiled, and he will require the profanation thereof out at our mouth. And the slaughter of our brethren, and the captivity of our country, and the desolation of our inheritance, will he turn upon our heads among the Gentiles, wheresoever we shall be in bondage, and we shall be an offense and a reproach to all them that possess us. For our servitude shall not be directed in favor, but the Lord our God shall turn it to dishonor. Our servitude shall be in dishonor, not in favor. Now therefore, O brethren, let us show an example to our brethren, because their hearts depend on us, and the sanctuary, and the house, and the altar rest upon us. Moreover, let us give thanks unto the Lord our God, which trieth us, even as he did our fathers. We have to be saying the same thing today in America. Let us give thanks unto the Most High for trying us like he did our fathers, like he did in Judah's time. Remember the things that he did to Abraham and how he tried Isaac, and what happened to Jacob in Mesopotamia of Syria when he kept the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother. For he hath not tried us in the fire as he did them, for the examination of their hearts. He's examining your hearts. Neither hath he taken vengeance on us, but the Lord doeth scourge them that come near unto him, and admonish them. Then said Ozias to her, all that thou hast spoken, hast thou spoken with a good heart, and there is none that may gainsay thy words. We can't go against what you're saying. Listen, what you're saying is gospel. We get that. That's real. For this is not the first day. This is not the first day wherein thy wisdom is manifested. But from the beginning of thy days, all the people have known thy understanding, because the disposition of thine heart is good. This is how they look at her. Because your heart is in the right place. But the people were very thirsty and compelled us to do unto them as we have spoken, and to bring an oath upon ourselves, which we will not break. Therefore, now pray thou for us, because thou art a godly woman. And the Lord will send us rain to fill our cisterns, and we shall faint no more. Because it's hot. It's hot out there. Then said Judith unto them, hear me, and I will do a thing, which shall go throughout all generations of the children of our nation. That's why it's written in this book. Ye shall stand this night in the gate, and I will go forth with my waiting woman, and within the days that ye have promised to deliver the city to our enemies, the Lord will visit Israel by mine hand. But inquire not ye of mine act. Don't ask me what I'm going to do. Don't ask what's about to take place. For I will not declare it unto you, not till things be finished that I do. Do you know what she did?
Kill people.
Do you know what she did?
Nah, yes.
Chopped off people's necks, right?
Nah, man.
Good.
Y'all watching somebody. Y'all,
Watching.
yeah, you supposed to be reading. You eating.
I'm reading too.
You know, he ain't reading nothing. You know what I'm saying? Then said Osias and the princes unto her, go in peace, and let the Lord God be before thee, to take vengeance on our enemies. So they returned from the tent and went their wards. Are we playing in that bedroom?
You want to get to
I'm about to get it right now.
the plot?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Chapter 10.
Yep. You want to start at 3 or later?
Start on the top. This is the book of Judith, chapter 10, from the top. Now, after she had ceased to cry unto the God of Israel and had made an end of all these words, she rose where. Hold on. Let's go to 9. Let's read her prayer. Chapter 9.
Oh, or chapter 9. That's one verse.
I hope they can pick that up on the microphone. Chapter 9, Judith chapter 9 from the top. Judith fell upon her face and put ashes upon her head and uncovered the sackcloth wherewith she was clothed. And about the time that the incense of the evening was offered in Jerusalem in the house of the Lord, Judith cried with a loud voice and said, O Lord God of my father Simeon, to whom thou gavest a sword to take vengeance of the strangers who loosened the girdle of a maid to defile her and discovered the thigh to her shame and polluted her virginity to her reproach. For thou saidest, it shall not be so, and yet they did so. Wherefore thou gavest their rulers to be slain. so that they dye their bed in blood, being deceived, and smotest the servants with their lords, and the lords upon their thrones. This is once again, this is her praying unto the Most High, right? Verse 4, and has given their wives for a prey, and their daughters to be captives, and all their spoilers to be divided amongst thy dear children, which were moved with thy zeal, and abhorred the pollution of their blood, and called upon thee for aid. O God, O my God, hear me also a widow. For thou hast wrought not only those things, but also the things which fell out before, and which ensued after. Thou hast thought upon the things which are now and which are to come. Yeah, what things thou didst determine were ready at hand, and said, Lo, we are here. For all thy ways are prepared, and thy judgments are in thy foreknowledge. For behold, the Assyrians are multiplied in their power, and are exalted with horses and men. They glory in the strength of their footmen. They trust in shield and spear, and bow and sling, and know not that thou art the Lord that breakest the battles. The Lord is thy name. Throw down their strength in thy power, and bring down their force in thy wrath. For they have proposed to defile thy sanctuary, and to pollute the tabernacle where thy glorious name rested, and to cast down with sword the horn of thy altar. Behold their pride, and send thy wrath upon their heads. Give into mine hand, which am a widow, the power that I have conceived. Smite by the deceit of my lips the servants and the prince with the prince, and the prince with the servant. Break down their
Stateliness
by the hand of a woman. Hand me a piece of tissue, bro. Yeah, man. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. Y'all keeping up with us? It's a lot of reading, man. I tell you, it's a lot of reading. You know what I'm saying? Listen. Listen. A lot of reading. It's only the third verse I pull. For thy power, verse 11, for thy power standeth not in multitude, nor thy might in strong men. His power ain't from strong men. For thou art a God of the afflicted, a God of the afflicted, and helper of the oppressed, an upholder of the weak, a protector of the forlorn, a savior of them that are without hope. I pray thee, O God, my Father, and God of the inheritance of Israel, Lord of the heavens and earth, creator of the waters, king of every creature, hear thou my prayer, and make my speech and deceit to be their wound and stripe, who have purposed cruel things against thy covenant and thy hallowed house, and against the top of Zion, and against the house of the possessed of thy children. And make every nation and tribe to acknowledge that thou art the God of all power and might, and that there is none other that protected the people of Israel but thou. See, Israel again. And only he protects Israel. We're going to jump to 10. I'm going to just get cut to the chase.
It's probably going to be 11. It just started talking about it at the end of 10.
I see it right now. We're going to go 13 and start from the top. It's all the way all up 13. Yeah. All right. Now we're going to fast forward. Judith has gone to speak to Holofernes, right? And remember, none of Israel knows what she's going to do. She took her handmaid and went to Holofernes. Chapter 10 and verse 7. And when they saw her, that her countenance was altered, that means she had put on makeup, right? You ain't got to go to that. I just wanted y'all to know that. She had put on makeup. She was already beautiful. She put on some makeup, looking fly as ever, you know? Now, she's talking to the one in charge. We're going to read from the top. All right. Now, when the evening was come, his servants made haste to depart, and Bagoas shut his tent without, and dismissed the waiters from the presence of his lord. And they went to their beds, for they were all weary, because the feast had been long. And Judith was left alone in the tent, and Holofernes lying alone upon his bed, for he was filled with wine. So he's drunk. Some people will drink so much, they don't even know that they had sex. Some people be drunk so much, they ain't even decide to take a shower. You know what I'm saying? Shots fired. People be drunk. It was filled with wine. Listen, but that be the excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all gotta start taking cabs home, man. Y'all can't be driving drunk. Oh yeah. Y'all driving drunk. That don't make no sense. And Judith was left alone in the tent, and Holofernes lying alone upon his bed, for he was filled with wine. Now Judith had commanded her maid to stand without her bedchamber and to wait for her. Meaning what? Stand outside. Wait for me outside. Coming forth as she did daily, for she said she would go forth to her prayers, and she spake to Bagoas according to the same purpose. So all went forth, and none was left in the bedchamber, neither little nor great. So not the court jester and not anybody important was in that tent. Then Judith, standing by his bed, said in her heart, O Lord God of all the power, look at this present upon the works of mine hands for the exaltation of Jerusalem. Look at this present upon the works of thine hands for the exaltation of Jerusalem. Give me 1 second. I'm going to look something up. Oh, it's because I'm reading it in NLT. Good Lord. Let's see this. Let's see this. Present. This goes back to Judges, right? Judges 3 with Ehud.
The left-handed Benjamin.
Yeah, the Benjamite that gave Eglon a present.
Was that the Moabite?
Present, a gift, tribute, offering, oblation, gift, present, an offering, a present, a donation to bestow, to tribute. Specifically a sacrificial offering, usually bloodless and voluntary. A gift, oblation, meat offering, present, sacrifice. Now listen, it says that, but watch. Judges 3:17. And he bought the present unto Eglon. Hold on. Verse 16. But Ehud made him a dagger which had 2 edges of a cubit length. This is Judges 3:16. You ain't got to go there. But Ehud made him a dagger which had 2 edges of a cubit length, and he did gird it under his raiment upon his right thigh. And he brought the present to Eglon, king of Moab. And Eglon was a very fat man. And when he had made an end to offer the present, he sent away the people that bear the present. But he himself turned again from the quarries that were at Gilgal and said, I have a secret errand unto thee, O king. Who said, keep silence. And all that stood by him went out from him. So he's like, I got something for you. And he was like, man, shut up. Y'all go. Y'all leave. You know what I'm saying? It's about to be a good gift. Y'all go. And Ehud came unto him, and he was sitting in a summer parlor, which he had himself alone. And Ehud said, I have a message from God unto thee. And he arose out of his seat, and Ehud put forth his left hand, and took the dagger from his right thigh, and thrust it into his belly. And the haft also went in after the blade, that the fat closed upon the blade, so that he could not draw the dagger out of his belly, and the dirt came out. What the dirt was?
His guts.
Nah, nigga.
Doodoo?
Yeah.
The
The dirt came
bile.
So I just wanted y'all to know that part. Like, so when we talk about they got a present, it's usually something they say. All right, where we at? Judith.
Rocking you to sleep.
You was on 5, I believe. I
Huh?
think you just finished 4. Or no, you on 4.
Con. So all went forth, and none was left in the bedchamber, neither little nor great. Then Judith, standing by his bed, said in her heart, O Lord God of all power, look at this present upon the works of my hands for the exaltation of Jerusalem. For now is the time to help thine inheritance and to execute thine enterprises to the destruction of the enemies which are risen against us. Then she came to the pillar of the bed, which was at Holofernes' head, and took down his fascion from thence, the sheet, yeah, and approached to his bed, and took hold of the hair of his head. She held it like this. He wasn't bald headed like this brother right here. So she was holding his hair, you know what I'm saying? And said, strengthen me, O Lord God of Israel, this day. And she smote twice upon his neck with all her might. Twice. And she took away his head from him. 2 cuts. And took away his head from him. And tumbled his body down from the bed and pulled down the canopy from the pillars. And anon, after she went forth and gave Holofernes his head to her maid. And gave Holofernes his head to her maid. So that we can take that back to Jerusalem. And we were like, see, look what we did. But if we come together in righteousness, he will fight for us. That's what it boils down to. We get 2 Maccabees 8. Listen, it's a bunch of reading, man. I know some of y'all tired. It's just a bunch of reading. Second Maccabees chapter 8 from the top. Shalom, family. You know, we're gonna keep the ball moving. We already been here for 2 hours. That's crazy. We're only on the 3rd precept.
It's gonna be a long one.
Y'all don't even know. I've been waiting to do this lesson for a while. I just wasn't ready to do it yet for y'all. You know? This is 2 Maccabees chapter 8, starting from the top. Verse 1. Then Judas Maccabeus and they that were with him went privily into the towns and called their kinfolks together and took unto them all such as continued in the Jews' religion, and assembled about 6,000 men. So they had 6,000 warriors. And they called upon the Lord, and that he would look upon the people that was trodden down of all, and also pity the temple profaned of ungodly men. And that he would have compassion upon the city, sore defaced, and ready to be made even with the ground, and hear the blood that cried unto him. And remember the wicked slaughter of harmless infants, and the blasphemies committed against his name, and that he would show his hatred against the wicked. This is what Judas Maccabeus is hoping for. Now, when Maccabeus had his company about him, he could not be withstood by the heathen, for the wrath of the Lord was turned into mercy. Therefore, he came at unawares and burnt up towns and cities, and got into his hands the most commodious places, and overcame and put to flight no small number of his enemies. So he was getting rid of a bunch of people. But especially took he advantage of the night for such privy attempts. So he would do this stuff in the middle of the night sometimes. And so much that the fruit of his holiness was spread everywhere. So when Philip saw that this man increased by little and little, and that things prospered with him still more and more, he wrote to Ptolemy, the governor of Cilicia and Phoenice, to yield more aid to the king's affairs. They needed more help. Then forthwith, choosing Nicanor, the sons of Patroclus, one of his special friends, he sent him with no fewer than 20,000 of all nations under him to root out the whole generation of the Jews. And with him he joined also Gorgias, a captain who in matters of war had great experience. So Nicanor undertook to make so much money of the captive Jews as should defray the tribute of 2,000 talents, which the king was to pay to the Romans. Wherefore immediately he sent to the cities upon the seacoast, proclaiming a sale of the captive Jews, and we always been getting sold, and promising that they should have 80 bodies for 1 talent, not expecting the vengeance that was to follow upon him from the Almighty God. He didn't even realize you playing these games, taking my people into captivity and selling them for nothing. You racking up a bill with the Most High. And when word was brought to Judas of Nicanor's coming, and he had imparted unto those that were with him that the army was at hand, they were very fearful. They that were fearful and distrusted the justice of God fled and conveyed themselves away. So Israelites were still afraid, even though they were supposed to have faith. Others sold all that they had left, and withal besought the Lord to deliver them, sold by the wicked Nicanor before they met together. And if not for their own sakes, yet for the covenants he had made with their fathers, and for his holy and glorious name's sake, by which they were called. So Maccabeus called his men together unto the number of 6,000, and exhorted them not to be stricken with terror of the enemy. Don't be afraid. Nor to fear the great multitude of the heathen, who came wrongly against them, but to fight manfully. To fight like a man. Gird up thy loins. And to set before their eyes the injury that they had unjustly done to the holy place, and the cruel handling of the city, whereof they made a mockery, and also the taking away of the government of their fathers, of their forefathers. For they said he trust in their weapons and boldness, but our confidence is in the Almighty, who at the beck can cast down both them that come against us and also all the world. See, their power is in their weapons. Our power comes from the Most High. Moreover, hold on, let me see. But the point is, they had faith, right? So because they were righteous, hope to be happy to be invited to learn from your teaching. However, you're reading verses but not explaining what the verse is conveying for me to understand. No worries. All right. So right now, we're talking about if we come together in righteousness, the Most High will fight for us. So the last story I gave y'all was in Judith. Judith was a godly woman, and the nation wasn't wicked at the time, but they were going to be attacked, right? So the men said, "Hey, we guarantee we're gonna kill the enemy unless the Most High help us." And then Judah says, "What are y'all doing? What are y'all talking about?" So she said, "Let me do what I gotta go do, and I'm gonna go deal with it." Right? The water goes on. You should put that on the screen. Yeah. He's doing. So now we're talking about the Maccabees. So Judas Maccabees, he's got these people that are coming against him, and what they eventually do is the water shark, keep that $2 drive alive. I mean, I'd rather he just cash at me, man, because YouTube gonna take all that. They're gonna leave a brother with 72 cents or something. I don't know. But the point is this, right? When we come together in righteousness, the Most High will fight for us. Judith understood that. Judas Maccabeus understood that, because what happened? He was out here fighting large armies with just a little group of men. 5,000 men ain't a large group. That's SICARII. You know what I'm saying? And he's fighting a plethora of nations. You understand? So that's the sentiments I'm giving, right? Right? Let's go to Exodus 14. The whole thing about reading the Maccabees, that's just a lot of reading. So if you want, you can read 2 Maccabees chapter 8, 1 all the way down, as well as 9 all the way down. Right? Both of those chapters are good for just showing how, all of Israel wasn't on point, but the ones that was on point, as well, since Israel wasn't sinning a bunch, they were able to, hold off these other nations, right? And fight them. That's where you get, Judas Maccabeus, and then all of a sudden the water. And then it turns into the Feast of Dedication, right? You understand? Once that was all said and done. All as well as the Feast of Nicanor. You understand? Right? So we're at Exodus chapter 14. We're going to read 21 to 25. I'm just giving you examples of when the Most High has fought for us, whether he's fighting with us through us or through the means of hellfire and brimstone and floods and all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And plagues. Once we know what we're supposed to do, he's going to look out for us. If we're sincere. Not just saying it, but actually living it and doing it, right? You ready? We're going to read 21 to 25.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 21. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. Verse 22. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea.
So once again, he's parted the sea. And they're walking onto the dry land. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon dry ground. And the waters were a wall unto them. On their right hand and on their left.
So it was on the left hand, on the right hand, right? That's why I said it was a wall to them. All right, go ahead.
Verse 23. And the Egyptians pursued.
And the Egyptians was following. Go ahead.
And went in after them to the midst of the sea.
Right in the middle of the sea. Go ahead.
Even all Pharaoh's horses and chariots and his horsemen.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass.
Now, sis, are you following along now? You with us on this one right now? Huh?
Sis Alicia.
That's your listen?
Yeah.
Why ain't you gonna tell me that? You're goofy, bro. I would like for her to let me know if you're following along with what we talking about right now. If everybody's following along, just put a 1 in the chat. Maybe that's a little easier. You say I'm going to put everybody to sleep and wake them up in the covenant? She probably left. All praises. Unchained mind. Yeah. We brought that brother to the truth. It's always love, man. It's always love. All right. Yeah.
This is verse 24.
You can talk there when you get free time.
And it came to pass that in the morning watch the Lord looked unto the host of the Egyptians.
Hold on. And it came to pass that in the morning watch the Lord looked unto the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and of the cloud, and troubled the host of the Egyptians. Right? So this is when the Most High is in that cloud. Yahweh is in the cloud, right? Go ahead.
Verse 25. And took off their chariot wheels, and they drave them heavily, so that the Egyptians said, let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fighteth for them against the Egyptians.
The Lord fighteth against the Egyptians. What ends up happening? Once Israel gets out that water, that safe passage, the waters collapse down on all the Egyptians, killing every last one of them. Right? So drunk you woke up in the covenant. Talk about it. You know what I'm saying? All right. Next. Baruch 4:21.
That's probably your favorite book, huh?
You already know.
Yeah.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 21. Be of good cheer, O my children. Cry unto the Lord, and he shall deliver you from the power and the hand of the enemies.
Read that again.
Verse 21. Be a good cheer.
Be of good cheer.
O my children. Cry unto the Lord, and he shall deliver you from the power and the hand of the enemies.
So we got to be a good cheer, and he will deliver us from the hand of the power of the enemies. We can't go through captivity sulking and mad and all this. Nigga, we did this to ourselves. We have to be of good cheer and of a good countenance and accept our punishment for what it is. I haven't seen my son since I think maybe March of last year.
Almost a year.
Oh, it's been a year.
It's been a year.
It's been a year. I haven't seen him since I came back from Passover last year.
Mm.
I've probably seen him like 2 weeks, and that was it. After that, after Passover. Like, you don't imagine running into people that would be a certain type of way. But this is what we signed up for. We said, Amen. We said, so be it. So now we got to go through these hard times. People ain't living where they want to live. People ain't working where they want to work. People ain't eating what they want to eat. But this is captivity. You know, it's difficult to smile every single day, but guess what? If you accept the truth for what it is, then you're going to be able to smile. Because what other options do you have? It say, be angry and sin not. Don't let the sun go down on your anger. So it's like we have to do better as a people. You understand? Well, go ahead. You can keep reading.
Kind. This is verse 22. For my hope is in the everlasting, that he will save you.
My hope is in the everlasting, and he will save you. What verse 10?
Verse 22.
That was it. Let me get Sirach 51. Oh, we're going to read 6 through 10.
Okay. The book of Sirach, known as Ecclesiasticus, 51, verse 6. Yeah. By an accusation, the king from an unrighteous tongue, my soul drew near even unto death. My life was near to the hell beneath.
I was almost dead.
Verse 7. They compassed me on every side, and there was no man to help.
Right? There was no might in your hand, right? Nobody was helping, right? Go ahead.
I looked for a successor.
Succor
Of men, but there was none. Verse 8. Then thought I upon thy mercy, O Lord, and upon thy acts of old. How thou deliverest such as wait for thee.
How thou deliverest such that wait for thee. How you deliver those that wait for you. That's what it's telling you. Then thought I upon thy mercy. Then I thought about your mercy, Lord, and called upon the acts of old. How thou deliverest such as wait for thee, and savest them out of the hands of the enemies. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Then lift I up my supplication from the earth, and prayed for deliverance from death.
And pray for deliverance from death, right? Verse 10.
Verse 10. I call upon the Lord, the Father of my Lord.
Go ahead.
That he will not leave me in the days of my trouble.
Read.
And in the time of the proud.
And in the time of the proud, read.
When there was no help.
When there was no help. But we waiting on the Most High to deliver us. Waiting on the Most High to fight for us. Let me get Luke 1:67. I can't believe it's 2.5 hours. We only do an hour class,
God, this is the book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 67.
Yeah.
And his father, Zacharias, was filled with the Holy Ghost and prophesied, saying, verse 68, blessed be the Lord God of Israel, For he hath visited and redeemed his people.
Yeah, visited and redeemed his people. Go ahead.
Verse 69, and have raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David.
And raised up a horn of salvation. The horn of salvation is Yahushua, Christ, right? Who you all call Jesus, right? For us, a possessive word, us, in the house of his servant David. Keep going.
Verse 70, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began.
So since the world began, they've been speaking. Go ahead.
Verse 71, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us.
That we should be saved from our enemies. This is what salvation is. That we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. Go ahead.
Verse 72, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant.
To perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant. Read.
Verse 73, the oath with which he swear to our father Abraham.
The oath which he swore to our father Abraham, right? That he would grant us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness before him all the days of our life. That's what it boils down to. That's what we out here for. That's what we're waiting on. Can't get it any other way. Right? So I just wanted to leave y'all with that. All praises, Alexia. You know what I'm saying? Don't put me out there like that. Hey, listen, talk about it. You know what I'm saying? All praises, you know? You know? You said it's your daughter, right?
Sister.
She look young enough to be your daughter, though.
Twin.
Come on, bro, chill out, man. I don't like twins. All right. So, thank you all. If y'all got any questions, feel free to ask on another time. I'm messing. You know, I'm the big bad wolf, Sergeant Bazar. This is my trusty sidekick. You know what I'm saying? Officer Gamal, right? AKA Robin. You know what I'm saying? You know, we do this. But the whole point was just so you all have to understand, just like the title says, if we return unto the Most High in righteousness, if we come together in righteousness, the Most High will fight for us. Remember that. Let that sink in. You know? Just remember, if y'all got any questions, y'all can send it to LBC SICARII. Oh, she just had to send it here, huh? Lord. The water awakening sister. You know what I'm saying? What?
That sister is a regular supporter.
You're a regular supporter. All praises.
The water.
Listen, I be so out of it, man. Like I said, man, I be trying not to, you know what I'm saying? The water clash? Yo, what just is talking about? You know what I'm saying? I just be like, man, I took some time off from teaching so that brothers can get they teach in, you know, give me some time to you know, meditate, get my mind right on some things, you know, and then the water for your gracious donation, sister, all praise to the Most High, you know, because it's very important that we get this right, man. We get this right. You know, I've said some choice things. I've done some choice things, but that does not mean that we stay in our folly, right? A just man will fall 7 times to get back up, but the wicked shall lay in his mischief. All right? So I just want y'all to know I'm always here for y'all. Y'all know y'all can always go on these things and see the email and contact me. You know, the Cash App is still the same, just in case some people forgot what it was. Yeah, Gamal, you know the Cash App, right?
Yeah.
Gamal know the Cash App. He be knowing. You know what I'm saying? I love you all dearly and sincerely. You know what I'm saying? Because none of us deserve this truth. None of us deserve good things. We've been living. I'm 38 years old. I'll be 39 in 2 months. I've lived 32 odd years as a nigga in the world. So now it's time to come back. You know how old Gamal is? I ain't even gonna put his number out there, but I'll just put it like this: 70 years of foolishness. Right? I'm just happy that I can make y'all laugh, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, I love my peoples, man. I love these brothers that are with me, and you know what Christ say? They are thine. You know what I'm saying? They belong to Him, man, and that's what we vibe with. You know, and I pray that brothers continuously try and do what's right and try and be better daily. You know, as well as you sisters. I know it's difficult for you sisters, knowing brothers can have multiple women and this and the other. Y'all thinking about the wrong stuff, and that's what hinders y'all from y'all spiritual growth. Your growth should come from loving your people. It starts there. Once you love your people, the Most High will then recognize, oh, if you love them, you must love me. But you can't love the Most High and hate your people. You understand? So we gotta do it. We gotta do it like that. All right. And with that, I want to say, Call Halal Yahweh, Ba'ashum Mashiach Yahushua, and Shalom.
Shalom.